The concert for George was held at the Royal Albert Hall in London on November 29, 2002 as a memorial to George Harrison on the first anniversary of his death. The event was organised by Harrison's widow, Olivia, and son, Dhani, and arranged under the musical direction of Eric Clapton and Lynne. The profits from the event went to the Material World Charitable Foundation, an organisation set up by Harrison. Performances. The concert opened with a traditional Sanskrit invocation, the Zavasham chant, followed by Indian music when Anushka Shankar, daughter of Ravi Shankar, played Your Eyes. Next, Anushka Shankar and Lynne performed The Inner Light, followed by a Ravi Shankar composition Arpan, specially written for the occasion. Next there was a comedy interlude with 4 surviving members of the Monty Python troupe performing Sit on My Face. Then Michael Palin came out as an over-the-top announcer who eventually states that he only ever wanted to be a lumberjack. He was then joined by the Pythons, Innes, Carol Cleveland and actor Tom Hanks and the Fred Tomlinson Singers to perform the lumberjack song. The remainder of the concert featured George's band, and included the surviving members of the Beatles, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, as well as musicians Eric Clapton, Lynne, Tom Petty, Billy Preston, Jools Holland, Albert Lee, Sam Brown, Gary Brooker, Joe Brown, Ray Cooper, Andy Fairweather-Low, Mark Mann, Klaus Vuman, Harrison's son Dhani and several other musicians who appeared on Harrison's recordings over the years. Between them they played a selection of mostly Harrison's songs, from both Beatle and post-Beatle eras, generally staying faithful to Harrison's original arrangements. Performances included Clapton on If I Needed Someone, and Beware of Darkness. Clapton and Preston on Isn't It a Pity. McCartney on For You Blue, and All Things Must Pass. Starr on Photograph. McCartney and Clapton on Something. Preston on My Sweet Lord. McCartney, Clapton and Starr reuniting on While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Petty on I Need You, and Taxman. Lynne on I Want to Tell You, and Give Me Love. Petty and Lynne on Handle with Care. And the group performance of Wah Wah. Joe Brown closed the show with a rendition of I'll See You in My Dreams on ukulele, one of Harrison's favorite instruments. The event was filmed and a motion picture version, directed by David Leland and photographed by Chris Menges, was released on DVD on November 17, 2003. A compact disc version was also released on the same date, although the Monty Python and Sam Brown tracks were not included on the CD. A Blu-ray version was released by Rhino Records on March 22, 2011. Set list: Zavi Sham, traditional prayer including a dedication by Ravi Shankar. Your Eyes Euro 822, Anushka Shankar, sitar. Tanmoy Bose, tabla. The Inner Light Euro 301, Anushka Shankar, sitar. Lynne, lead vocals, acoustic guitar. Pragendara Prasanna, Shahnai. Tanmoy Bose, tabla. Dhani Harrison, backing vocals, piano. Unidentified musicians, other instruments. Arpan Euro 2301, Anushka Shankar, conductor. Sukhanaya Shankar, vocal shloka. Balanch Handa, mridangam. Pragendara Prasanna, Shahnai. Vishwa Mohan Bhatt, Mohan Veena. Tanmoy Bose, tabla, tolak. Chandrasekhar, Balu Raghaman, violins. Eric Clapton, electric guitar. Pedro Eustache, wind instruments. Sunil Gupta, flute. Anuradha Krishnamurthy, O.S. Arun, lead vocals. Jane Lister, harp. Gaurav Mazumdar, sitar. Snehashish Mazumdar, mandolin. Ramesh Mishra, sarangi. Pirashanath Thevaraja, percussion. Kenji Ota, tanpura. Barry Phillips, cello. Emil Richards, marimba. Parthasarathi, sarod. Hari Shivanesan, Sivaskhti Shivanesan, Vienna. Boys and Girls Choir courtesy of Parata Vidya Pavan. English Chamber Choir. London Metropolitan Orchestra, Michael Carman a Euro string conductor, string arrangement. Comic interlude including 4 members of Monty Python, Michael Palin, Terry Jones, Eric Idle and Terry Gilliam. Also performing, Neil Innes, Carol Cleveland and Tom Hanks. Sit on My Face, the Lumberjack song. I Want to Tell You a Euro 252, Jeff Lynne, lead vocals, rhythm guitar. If I Needed Someone a Euro 228, Eric Clapton, lead vocals, rhythm guitar. Old Brown Shoe a Euro 348, Gary Brooker, lead vocals, electric piano. Give Me Love a Euro 329, Jeff Lynne, lead vocals, acoustic guitar. Beware of Darkness a Euro 400, Eric Clapton, lead vocals, rhythm guitar. Here Comes the Sun a Euro 309, Joe Brown, lead vocals, acoustic guitar. Neil Gauntlet, acoustic guitar. Dave Rico Nilo, bass. Phil Capaldi, drums. Andy Fairweather Low, electric guitar. That's the Way It Goes a Euro 339, Joe Brown, lead vocals, mandolin. Neil Gauntlet, acoustic guitar. Andy Fairweather Low, slide electric guitar. Dave Rico Nilo, bass. Phil Capaldi, drums. Horse to the Water, Sam Brown, lead vocals. Jules Holland, piano. Jim Capaldi, drums. Taxman a Euro 310, Tom Petty, lead vocals, rhythm guitar. Mike Campbell, lead guitar. Benmont Tench, electric piano. Ron Blair, bass. Steve Ferrone, drums. Scott Thurston, backing vocals, rhythm guitar. I Need You a Euro 300, Tom Petty, lead vocals, 12-string acoustic rhythm guitar. Mike Campbell, lead guitar. Benmont Tench, electric piano. Ron Blair, bass. Steve Ferrone, drums. Scott Thurston, backing vocals, rhythm guitar. Handle with Care a Euro 327, Tom Petty, lead vocals, 12-string acoustic rhythm guitar. Jeff Lynne, lead vocals, rhythm guitar. Dhani Harrison, acoustic rhythm guitar. Scott Thurston, backing vocals, rhythm guitar, harmonica. Mike Campbell, lead guitar. Benmont Tench, electric piano. Ron Blair, bass. Steve Ferrone, drums. Jim Keltner, drums. Isn't It a Pity a Euro 658, Billy Preston, lead vocals, Hammond organ. Eric Clapton, lead vocals, lead guitar. Photograph a Euro 356, Ringo Starr, lead vocals. Jim Hahn, sax solo. Honey Don't a Euro 303, Ringo Starr, lead vocals. Albert Lee, lead guitar solo. Gary Brooker, piano solo. Billy Preston, Hammond organ. For You Blue a Euro 304, Paul McCartney, lead vocals, acoustic guitar. Ringo Starr, drums. Mark Mann, slide guitar. Something a Euro 425, Paul McCartney, lead vocals, ukulele, acoustic rhythm guitar. Ringo Starr, drums. Eric Clapton, lead vocals, rhythm guitar. Mark Mann, lead guitar. All Things Must Pass a Euro 333, Paul McCartney, lead vocals, acoustic guitar. Ringo Starr, drums. Eric Clapton, acoustic guitar. Dhani Harrison, electric guitar. While My Guitar Gently Weeps a Euro 557, Eric Clapton, lead vocals, lead guitar. Paul McCartney, lead vocals, piano. Ringo Starr, drums. Dhani Harrison, acoustic guitar. Mark Mann, slide guitar. My Sweet Lord a Euro 502, Billy Preston, lead vocals, Hammond organ. Paul McCartney, piano. Eric Clapton, 12-string acoustic guitar. Dhani Harrison, backing vocals, acoustic guitar. Wah Wah a Euro 606, Eric Clapton, rhythm guitar vocals. Jeff Lynne, acoustic rhythm guitar vocals. Billy Preston, lead vocals, Hammond organ. Supergroup of guest musicians, other instruments. I'll See You in My Dreams a Euro 401, Joe Brown, lead vocals, ukulele. Neil Gauntlet, acoustic guitar. Dave Rico Nilo, bass. Jim Capaldi, drums. George's Band and Guests. Eric Clapton a Euro electric and acoustic guitars, musical director, Jeff Lynne, Tom Petty, Joe Brown, Albert Lee, Mark Mann, Andy Fairweather Lowe, Dhani Harrison, Paul McCartney a Euro electric and acoustic guitars, Gary Brooker, Jules Holland, Chris Stainton, Sam Brown, Billy Preston, Paul McCartney a Euro keyboards, Dave Bronze, Klaus Vuman a Euro bass, Ringo Starr, Jim Keltner, Jim Capaldi, Henry Spinetti a Euro drums, Ray Cooper, Emile Richards, Jim Capaldi a Euro percussion, Jim Horn a Euro tenor saxophone, Tom Scott a Euro alto saxophone, Katie Kassoon, Tessa Niles, Sam Brown a Euro backing vocals, Anushka Shankar a Euro sitar. See also, Concert for George. Notes and references. External links, official website, USA Today Review, looking back at the Concert for George review.